Welcome everyone to this Rokoko webinar. I'm Sam Lazarus. I'm your host for today. And today we are going to be making Rokoko motion capture with your help. We're going to be in the chat, looking at what you guys want to see and just making mocap, cleaning it up and showing you kind of what Rokoko is all about. Before we get started, I do want to just mention that for webinar attendees, there's a 10% discount from your order from Rokoko.com, mocap 2025. We will send this to you in an email after the webinar, but thank you for coming. And if you're thinking about purchasing, 10% doesn't hurt. So it's always a good thing to join these webinars because we do discounts, we do raffles. We're doing a raffle today. As I said a moment before, you can always book a free demo at Rokoko.com. This is an incredible thing. You can talk to a real person, ask about your specific workflow, because VFX, everything is different between every single person. You can ask particular questions about your situation, and we've got a great team. So book a free demo at Rokoko.com or using the QR code there. And what are we talking about today in this webinar? So first thing, we're going to jump into a quick overview of the Rokoko ecosystem. So we're all on the same page, what we do, what we make, how we do it. Then we're going to jump right into a live demo. I'm going to throw on the suit. You notice I don't have the suit on right now. That's because I like to show this process from 0 to 100, right? So you're not in a suit. I'm going to make mocap. What does that entire process look like? So I'm going to jump into a suit. We'll make some motion capture. And yeah, today's webinar is all about just making what you guys want to see. So I'm just going to be kind of looking at the chat. We'll be interacting. We've got panelists who are also in the chat, so they'll be trying to answer questions too. We have a dedicated question and answer button at the bottom of your UI. So if you have a particular question that isn't getting answered in the chat, throw it in there. We'll do a Q&A at the end. But yeah, we're just making motion capture, and then we'll do that for like 30 or 35, 40 minutes, and then we will clean it up. We'll take it in Rokoko Studio Preview. We'll make some loops. We'll do some smoothing. We'll take a look at some of the new updates that are even unreleased of some fun stuff coming up. We'll do a little raffle. We'll do a Q&A, and then we'll be out of here. So this will be a lot of fun. And yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Okay, so let's jump right into this so we can actually get into our suit. Rokoko, who are we? What do we do? So we are, Rokoko. We make motion capture hardware and software. So our three kind of tenets for what we're trying to do, we are trying to make high quality motion capture, but also motion capture that is easy to use and that is affordable. So those are kind of the three things that we're aiming at with all of our products. And we have a bunch of different motion capture tools throughout the different types of mocap at this point. So our flagship product is the SmartSuit Pro 2. I'm going to be throwing this on in one moment. It is an inertial motion capture system. That means that it just works over Wi-Fi. It's got sensors in the suit that talk to your computer, no cameras, no cables. It's all wireless, and you get great motion capture out of it. That is also affordable and that you can do yourself. We also make some smart gloves. So these are fantastic, best-in-class motion capture gloves, only $1,000, super affordable, especially relative to the other options out there, right? They work natively with our suit. You get great hand and finger motion capture with them, but they work with other systems as well. So they work with Vicon, they work with OptiTrack, whatever. You've got another motion capture system, they'll work with that as well. We also have a face capture solution. We have this for both Android and iOS. iOS using just an iPhone. We might be doing some of that today, depending on if you guys want to do facial motion capture. Alongside our software, of how we capture the face, we also have a mount. So if we do pull out the facial motion capture, we can throw this guy on, throw our iPhone on that mount and get some facial motion capture. But we also make a head cam. So this is our head rig. It holds an iPhone. We also have a head cam. That's a similar thing, but it's got a built-in camera into it. And you can use that with Android, and it also works super well with the new Unreal MetaHuman system for facial motion capture. Finally, we have the Coil Pro rounding out our hardware solution. The Coil Pro is an EMF-based motion capture system. That means it makes an electromagnetic bubble within which it can track your gloves in absolute position. We probably won't be playing with this, but this is kind of the high end of what we do. And book a free demo if you want to find out more, or go to our YouTube channel. We've got tons of information about the coil there. And below you can see some of the uses of the coil and things like that. So that's all of our hardware. Almost done. Bear with me. We also, on the software side, have Rokoko Studio. This is our proprietary kind of hub software. This is where you record your motion capture. It's also where we have a motion library where you can download other motion capture clips. It's where you can live stream your mocap from into Unity or Unreal or Blender or Maya or Cinema 4D. So we'll be using Rokoko Studio a lot. We just updated it with a brand new locomotion system that is amazing. So we'll be playing with Rokoko Studio. But then we also have an AI motion capture tool called Rokoko Vision, vision.rokoko.com. It's free. Anyone can go and play with it right now. You can also download Rokoko Studio for free. And it comes with sample scenes, so you can get a sense of what we're doing today and how this whole workflow works. And then the final thing I'll mention is Rokoko Studio Preview. So this is a beta, alpha. This is an early look at where Rokoko is going. So this is where we are releasing kind of new experimental features like looping and smoothing and the new motion spotlight tool and text to motion, AI motion capture generation from text prompts. So this is an amazing new separate program, and it's kind of where we're going to be moving to in the future. For right now, again, Rokoko Studio, our main software, is where we're going to be working, but this is where we go to make loops and smoothing. And again, we're going to get into all this because today we are making motion capture. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to jump in and we're gonna hop into the suit. I will also mention again, I don't think I said this, but we are gonna do a raffle at the end of this webinar, so stay tuned. We're giving away a full performance capture bundle, suit, gloves, head, facial motion capture system, everything. So that is gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm checking the chat. Can you do driving animation loop? Easy. I would like to see a mocap of sword and slashing. So I've got my sword prop here today. Okay, so let's get in and let's actually make some of this motion capture and start doing it. So I'm gonna jump over here and kind of just want to have my, hold on, let me make myself big here. Let me take up the full screen, because we are going to jump into our suit. So I've got my Rokoko Smart Suit Pro 2 right here. Let's jump in, let's throw on our gloves, and let's start making some motion capture. Usually this whole process takes about 60 seconds to like get into my suit. So somebody, I don't know, should we actually start a timer? I like to time this and see how we can do. Okay, let's do this. Start a stopwatch. Boom. Okay, let's jump into our suit. So, one of the great things about Rokoko motion capture is that it is very easy to go from, I have an idea about some mocap that I want to make, to I'm in my suit and I'm actually executing on that idea, right? Just get my legs in there. And that's one of the great things like about Rokoko relative to a lot of the other systems. And you might think, you know, oh golly, it's a lot of work. It's a suit system where I have to get into a suit every time. You know, aren't there great AI systems where like I don't have to do that and I can just set up cameras and stuff? Those systems are great. And I always say that there's like a motion capture solution that's different for every single person who works in visual effects. But that being said, like that's as much time as it takes to hop into your suit. Okay, 57 seconds. So, you know, it takes a minute to jump into your suit and you don't have to deal with like setting up a bunch of cameras and a bunch of other things that actually, you know, can be kind of nightmares when you have to attend to each disparate part of your whole setup, as opposed to everything being contained into a suit. We had a lot of, you know, other ideas about motion capture, and it's very intentional that we do a suited workflow. Now, again, we are working on lots of new and exciting motion capture that's like suitless, but there's going to be different use cases for things like that. So again, that's what I always try and remind people, is that in motion capture, there's no one solution that fits everyone. And that's why you kind of again, you want to book a demo, you want to like evaluate all the solutions that are out there to figure out which one is going to work the best for you. One of the best ways to do that, however, is to see the tool in action. And that's, again, hopefully what we're going to be doing here today. So I'm going to put myself over to the side here. Let's see. How can I make this visually pleasing? There we go. Okay, and so this is Rokoko Studio. Perhaps I should have started with that. This is the software I was talking about. You can see I've just plugged in my battery. Everything is working off of Wi-Fi. So I've already paired this whole system with my computer before. So I just plug in my battery, plug in my gloves, and everything pops up. Yeah, the last thing I actually have to do is throw on my little headband here with my head sensor, which I always forget about. Oh, now I've got weird dangling head. Okay, never mind that. Okay. So, got my head sensor on, and here you can see in the scene that I've got this weird floating body, right? This is my input of my SmartSuit Pro 2. And then I've got this actor. Oh yeah, sorry, forgot we had polls. We'll start a couple polls throughout the webinar. Please go ahead and answer if you have any interest. We like learning about you guys, and hopefully we can make these better with more information. But yeah, so I've got my suit that's active in the scene, and I've got an actor. And we have these things called actor profiles. This is a profile that has some of my body measurements, including my height. My height is really the most important one, but then also it's got shoulder width, it's got, arm span, it's got things like that that can help make the motion capture better. And also it's in these actor profiles. So if you have multiple people using the suits who are different sizes, you don't have to redo this every single time. You just pull up their profile, load on the suit, do one calibration pose that is a straight pose, takes 3 seconds. I mean, actually it's instantaneous, but it takes 3 seconds because, you can't jump. It gives you 3 seconds to get ready, but here we are. We're making motion capture. And if I hadn't been gabbing this whole time about this whole process, right, then you can see how this could be even faster, right? Usually it's like 2 or 3 minutes, hop in my suit, and I'm hitting record and I'm making motion capture. Okay, so here we are. And to give you a tour of Rokoko Studio, let's make some motion capture. Let's just get it started. Okay, the first thing I see, let's get some recommendations again. Okay, in the pool, I would need some multiple ants. Okay, hold on. What sort of router are you using? Starting from the far side of the room, jumping up and landing as if you came out of a Pokeball, doing a big roar like a T-Rex, and a slow head scanning. Oh my God. Okay, this is perfect. Okay, Pokeball. This is how we're gonna learn how Rokoko works. This is our first motion capture. Couldn't be better. This is my Charizard emerging from the Pokeball. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit, and I'm gonna move myself. I have a desk chair, so we can sit and make mocap. But for this first one, we got a Charizard, so let's do it. I'm gonna hit start recording, and you're gonna see. Let's try it. Okay, and obviously a little limited by the space. I'm going to try and do the best that I can for all of these things. Let's go ahead. We're going to rename all of our clips as we go, and I'm going to try and kind of shove myself over here. I might make myself a little smaller, and we're going to call this Charizard. And let's take a look at what we got here. Okay. So if we hit play, we can see, and I'll move the camera back here just as I go through this first clip. We're going to kind of be making motion capture quickly as we go. So we're not going to stop and look at each clip more than maybe just to review it. We're not going to do editing. We're going to save that to the end. So we're going to make motion capture like straight for about 30 minutes or something like that. But for this first clip, I do want to show you what's going on because, again, there might be some clips that we run into during this process that don't behave well. There are lots of things that Rokoko mocap is not good at doing. there are lots of things that all of the motion capture systems are not good at doing. They all have weaknesses, including ours. And that's something that's super important to know about if you're thinking about getting into motion capture. That's not a problem. What becomes a problem is when you don't know about those weaknesses and then you make scenes not knowing about them. All of the systems have weaknesses. You need to work within those weaknesses to get the best result. You know, Rokoko, again, we don't like our weaknesses. I say weaknesses and that can sound scary. There's just some things we aren't as good at doing. So my point is, we are going to go through, we're going to make motion capture, and then we're going to try and see what Rokoko is good at, what it's bad at, so you can get a sense of if this is a system that's going to work for you. Anyway, okay, so as we're going through this, you can see that I just want to show you how Rokoko works. Down at the bottom, you can see that our feet, every time they are in contact with the ground, you can see there's a little bar on this timeline here, and this bar represents foot contact with the ground. Now, for Rokoko to operate in an accurate way, we need to understand when your foot is in contact with the ground. And by default, Rokoko will do a great job at understanding this, but sometimes you need to go through and make edits. Now, this jump, for instance, by the way, I mean, this is great, right? Come on, this is really good Charizard acting, by the way. We didn't even acknowledge that. But this jump, you can see both my feet are off the ground here, and Rokoko Studio understands that. What if we add a little bar here? So by adding this bar, what I'm telling Rokoko Studio is, hey, green is your left foot. This bar is here. The left foot is actually on the ground in this part. So now let's watch the jump. Right? Looks awful. So we will oftentimes see small errors like this in recordings. To fix them, all you do is delete that part and make sure that Rokoko understands, hey, the feet were off the ground or the feet were on the ground during that moment right here, for example. You can see it thinks that my right foot came off the ground, but it didn't actually come off the ground till here. So doing cleanup of your Rokoko motion capture is an essential part of Rokoko. It takes 30 seconds to clip. A lot of times you don't need to do it at all, but when you do, and it makes your motion capture better, and it gives you these better results. And you can see right here, this is when the foot lands. So I would go through and I would do that, and then we'd get this like solid, performance here. So we're not going to go through, we're not going to clean this whole clip again, although, from just the raw data, it does look quite good. We're going to go through and we're just going to start making that motion capture. Actually, the last thing that I'll do before we jump in and make mocap is we just added this auto drift fix filter into Rokoko Studio. So as long as I start and stop my motion capture in the same location, and you can see where we started our motion capture in front of the computer right here, right? At the end of the clip, back in front of the computer, but we're slightly in a different spot. There was slight drift over the course of this recording. We just hit this button. It will move subtly. It will adjust the entire recording so that I am stopping and starting in the same place. And it cleans up our mocap, makes it look a little bit better, fixes a lot of that drift. And yeah, and also a lot of what you're seeing here is the result of our new locomotion engine, which we just updated. And actually we just updated it a few days ago or last week to work in real time as well. So hopefully what we're seeing in real time should also be more accurate too. Okay, so I have not been paying attention to the chat for this whole thing. I'm scrolling to the bottom. I'm sorry. Actually, I'll look at what's happening while I scroll to the bottom. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss some people's recommendations as we go. I'm gonna try and capture as many different interesting things as I can. But yeah, put a particular question in the Q&A if you have it. And other than that, okay, I'm gonna try and get to the bottom. Okay, opening a door, starting and steering an airplane. Okay, let's do an airplane. So let's do that really quick. So I'm gonna get my chair out. We're gonna move the camera back because we are gonna be, my mic right here. We're gonna be in front of the camera now from now on. I'm gonna do another calibration pose because why not? We've been moving around a lot and a calibration pose will make the mocap continue to be accurate. I usually do one every at least 15 minutes, but if you have the time, you can do it before each take. Why not? It'll just make your mocap more accurate. So this is driving an airplane. Let's do both a jet and a commercial liner. And I'm going to sit down in the chair to do this. So here's the jet. Oh, okay. And then a commercial liner. Hey there, everyone. We got some slight turbulence coming in, but everything's going to be looking good, and enjoy the flight. There we go. Okay. About a minute. So let's take a peek at this. Let's rename it. We're going to rename it each time. I'm sorry, my face is going to be all big and weird in this thing here, but I can't help it. Okay, Jet Pilot. And let's open it up. And so I'm happy actually we did a sitting one for this one because I can show you another trick. So again, we said that Rokoko motion capture works off of foot contact with the ground. So when you're sitting, this can become an issue, right? Because especially if you're lifting your legs up off the ground, Rokoko might not know what's going on. What's great is I can actually, I mean, this looks good and this looks fine. Like we could totally use this. This looks great. However, I can also completely turn off locomotion. And this will give me even more accurate motion capture. I won't be moving around the scene anymore. You can see my hips are locked in place. But because I'm sitting in a chair, I want my hips locked in place anyway. And here we go. The jet, I would go into this knowing that I'd have to do some mocap editing in Unreal or in Blender or whatever it is to parent my hand to the stick, the control stick. Here's commercial pilot, flicking switches, always fun to flick switches. Here's talking to the passengers. Hey, we got some. Okay, looks good. What do we got next? Okay, I'm gonna jump to the bottom of the chat. I'm sorry, I'm skipping over people. I'm just gonna have to do things randomly. Lift a heavy box from a squat position. One knee touches the floor. Readjust. Okay, new poll. Readjust, lift, set the box on a table. Okay. Jason Webb, the audio is too clear. Okay, ride a horse. That's an interesting one. How would I go about doing that? Okay, let's ride a horse. I know how I would do this actually. So, this looks good, right? I look good. Let's just go and record. So to do this, I would just stand in place. So, and I would kind of mock it. I'm just gonna do this. And actually, so that is, and you can see riding horse. And let's open it up. This would actually be another candidate that I might take off locomotion mode for. Because in the end, I'm actually going to be parenting this hip to my horse anyway, which ostensibly has animation, right? If I'm making horse riding animation, then I've got a horse animated in my scene that I'm going to be parenting this rider to. So I don't even need this character to be moving around in the scene because the hip is going to be parented to like the spine bone of the horse. But that's probably how I do horse riding. That's a good one. Let's keep cruising. We're just making things. Okay, climbing stairs. So we can totally, I'm not going to go climb stairs because I don't have stairs in here, but we do have an elevation tracking mode. And you know what? Let's try it with the chair. But I'm going to do, instead of climbing stairs, I'm going to climb on the chair and act like a creepy puppeteer, which is what Anis wants. So this will be elevation tracking and a recommendation. Let's go for it. And this will look quite weird when I do it. I mean, I think, you know, whatever. I'm a good creative director, maybe. I'm good at these webinars. I'm okay at them. My true calling, creepy puppeteer on the back of a desk chair, obviously. Don't know how to spell puppeteer. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is another one. You guys have great suggestions because we're kind of taking a tour of everything Rokoko can do, which is my dream as a webinar host. So we do not have elevation tracking on by default. That means that Rokoko always thinks that there's one level. There's the ground. This is true of all inertial motion capture. It's a function of how it works, right? So this might not happen in AI motion capture, but with an XM suit, you're going to get something similar. It's just kind of the way that inertial motion capture, it works because we need to know a ground plane and we assume it's one plane. So we added this elevation tracking mode. If I turn this on, I can set the height of the thing I'm stepping on. And look at this now. As long as we go and we tell Rokoko Studio, hey, my foot is landing right there. So we need to do a little editing. And then I left and then I sit. Oh, look at this. Look what we got here. We got a really creepy elevation tracking. So this is the same way that this works the same way for climbing stairs or something like that. I mean, come on. This is gold here. This is like, look at this. They were doing a little dance there. They were going. And then we get back to the ground. So this is the same way it works with stairs. You just put in your elevation tracking height of each stair. Stairs are uniform. This only works with uniform changes in elevation. So you can't go from a little stair, skip 3 stairs. Well, you actually could. It's just the increments of elevation increase are in a set amount. So in this case, 50 centimeters, 20 centimeters. Stairs are usually 10 inches, I think, tall. So you'd set it to it's like 20 centimeters. I forget what it is in centimeters, but anyway, elevation tracking is great. It works awesome. And I don't have to do it live because I can do it on post-recorded clips. Okay, Creepy Puppet Master, done. Boom. Sitting down and standing up with legs crossed. So this is true, Slavko, and let's look at this probably would require quite a bit of editing. Let's take a look at this example. So this is sitting down and standing up from my legs being crossed. And that's again because Rokoko needs to understand when the legs are in contact with the ground. And this can be tricky with some forms of sitting. So we have a fix for this coming soon, actually, where you're gonna be able to keyframe on and off elevation tracking. I'm not gonna say when, at some point in the future that'll happen. And that will fix this problem. But for right now, it might be a wonky result. But let's see. Here we go. Dashing away. So that looks pretty good, but you can maybe see sitting and getting up. You can maybe see that I was kind of intentionally trying to place my feet solidly on the ground. So Rokoko Studio understood, hey, right here you can see I'm like, lift up, put down. Okay, register Rokoko Studio that I was on the ground. Issues like this, where my hands are not fully on my knees, a very typical function of inertial motion capture, you're gonna have to fix it in post. That's fine. There's lots of good tools for doing that now. 5 years ago, this was way more of an issue. Now it's easy to do a fix, edit a fix in Unreal. And this is one of the sacrifices that you make for having such an affordable motion capture suit. And again, that may seem silly to some people because it is still expensive, obviously. When we're talking about pricing for motion capture, it's always relative. So while $3,500 for a setup or whatever is a lot of money, it's less than $12,000. So that's what we mean when we say affordability. It's not that our suit is super duper cheap. It's 50 bucks. It's still an investment, right? It's relative to the rest of the industry. And this is one of those small sacrifices that you make. And again, this is why it's so important to talk to a product specialist and find out what the limitations of Rokoko are. if you're interested in getting investing. So you can see there's some cleanup I could do here to make this probably look better. I might. So this is right here. Let's see if I can. Maybe like this. So it looks okay. But yeah, that is something that is going to be maybe causing issues at some point. Okay, let's keep going. An old person walking with a stick. Okay, I can use my sword as a stick. I will, and we're going to make this into a walk cycle that we will go into Rokoko Studio preview and make into a loop. And that will be our walk cycle loop. So let's do this. Got my sword as my cane. Old person walk, commence. Okay, pretty good. And actually, I kind of realized that at the end there, we probably have what we need more, which is to make a good walk cycle, you kind of want to have a constant rate of motion forward. So you don't want to be doing things like this, which is what I was doing at the beginning of the walk cycle. I was stepping and pausing. Step, pause, pause. You kind of want to be continually step, 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 because if you're not moving forward at a solid rate, your feet might be sliding for when you actually start using your walk cycle. Let's rename this loop old man walk. But I mean, come on, again, I think that, you know, I don't have to do any editing at this at all. Looks great right out of the box. I could do the auto drift fix and make it better. There we go. We'll make this into a loop when we jump into Rokoko Studio Preview. What else do we want to see? Hi, Sam. I was trying to record motion capture myself playing the drums. Movement and feet makes the program think, oh, okay, Henderson, this is great. Let's do drums. You got to don't do... Oh, so treadmill mode. So we also have a treadmill mode. Henderson Weffer. Great question. This question is about drums. And when you're drumming, you do a lot of foot motions where your feet are tapping a lot, and Rokoko Studio doesn't like that because it thinks that you're moving, and so it's going to say, hey, you're moving around. I'm going to try and make you move around, but you're sitting still. So treadmill mode is this mode that we have that VTubers can use, or there's lots of other uses. Again, Rokoko Studio doesn't like it when your feet are not on the ground. So if you're doing gymnastics and you're like hanging on bars, we've had like circus groups use our kit before. They use treadmill mode because your feet can be off the ground for extended periods of time, and Rokoko Studio won't freak out. Now, that being said, my preferred method of doing sitting motion capture is not treadmill mode. It's just turning off locomotion, which, again, you cannot do when you're live. You can only do it on recorded clips, Henderson. So let's say I'll turn on treadmill mode, and let's do some drumming, and I'll show you what I mean. Actually, no, I'm going to turn off treadmill mode. So we'll try and get as many errors as we can, and then I'll show you how to fix them. So this is drumming. Okay, so this also might be a little bit moot at this point, Henderson, because we just implemented this update literally days ago where our new locomotion engine is doing better in real time. So you might not even have this issue anymore. But that being said, let's say that you did have this issue. You were drumming. Okay, and yeah, you can see. Look at Rokoko Studio is freaking out. Look, I'm drumming and I'm kind of moving the hips around and I'm moving around, and it used to be a lot worse than this. Again, the new locomotion engine I think has made this better. But that being said, if we turn off locomotion entirely, rock solid, steady. You still get rotation of the hips, they just won't move in space. Again, if you're a drummer, that's okay if you're not standing up and stuff. So this is the fix that I like to use for that. And again, soon you will be able to keyframe locomotion on and off for sitting stuff like this to give you really rock solid sitting. But for right now, you turn off locomotion, you're done. Okay. We got one from Chastity. Can you crawl and the suit can register your hands are touching the ground? So if I try and touch the ground, Chastity, it's not gonna really work. That might be a use case for the coil. But that's just kind of one of the limitations of Rokoko, but also of inertial motion capture anyway. So crawling is something that Rokoko will not like. I can try it and we'll see what happens, but it probably won't be good. But it would be something that I would do knowing that, okay, I'm going to need to do some editing on this. And again, if it's just crawling on the ground, I might use a stock asset that I could get from the motion library or from, any mocap library that you can get. Let's try and do some crawling that's custom. So it's like a four-legged creature that like hears something. Let's do that. Let's try it. Okay. Oh, that looked good. I dropped out of sight there probably. Let's try this. Call this crawling test. How are we doing on time, everyone? Okay, we're coming up on it. We might have to. We didn't do as many, but we can only do as many as we can. Maybe we'll do this for another 10 minutes. Then we'll do a little raffle and we'll jump into Rokoko Studio Preview. So this looks okay. This isn't crawling with my knees on the ground. I think Rokoko probably wouldn't enjoy that. But yeah, it's something that is not, you can see that the hands are going through the ground. Again, that's all typical. It's what I would expect. I would expect to fix something like this in post in Unreal or in Blender using IK, using an IK control rig. We have tutorials for all of that on our channel, but it looks pretty good, I think. And probably look a little bit better with the auto drift fix. Yeah. It looks okay, but you can kind of see that's what you get with crawling. Okay, let's do some more. Singer, okay, mocap singer. Definitely I can do that. We'll do mocap singer, and then we'll do push-ups. I'm not gonna do push-ups because I definitely won't like push-ups. Draw the sword from the stone. Okay, so let's do both of those. Let's do sword of the stone, and at the same time we'll do singing. So we'll pull the microphone from the stone and sing. So now is probably a time when I do a calibration pose. Let's do it. And I will also go ahead and bring in a character that we can retarget onto. So this is another thing that's really cool about Rokoko Studio is you can import Mixamo characters, a bunch of different types of characters. We have them listed out, but let's grab this Mixamo character here. I'm going to add him to my scene. Now you can see that we've got both, and I've got this character moving in real time, and this character is now going to be pulling the microphone from the stone and singing. Let's do it. What we doing, everyone? I don't know. Something like that. There you go. Looking pretty good. The mic in the stone. Looking good. And what do we got here? Let's check it. So this is something where the hands are going to be slightly off, right? I would have to fix this. It's again, that's totally fine. It's something I know I'm going to have to fix in post to stack those hands on one another. But he's got the microphone. Yeah. Yeah. Looking good. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay. A person lies sprawled out on a couch. Here's a ringtone. This is from JG. Sits up all of a sudden, picks up their phone, watches it, panics, gets up in a hurry and leaves. This is great because this is a whole scene that is something you're never going to be able to find on Mixamo. You know, maybe you could string things together or whatever, but this is like a custom scene that's going to be very difficult to piece together in yourself or to hand animate. And it is easy to do in Rokoko. So JG, let's do it. We're gonna use the couch, or we're gonna use the chair as our couch. I'm gonna pantomime the phone. If I was doing this by myself, I would go to my actual couch and I would use the phone. Here, it's not gonna stay on the chair, but let's do it. Yeah, top in class acting. Fantastic. Boom. And so this is flipping channels, you know, sprawled out on the couch. Uh-oh, wait a second. Wait, did something beep? Wait, where's my phone? Oh, oh no. Oh God. Oh no. I'll put it in my pocket. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no. Oh, you know, done. Great. If I don't like that, I can iterate it. I can do a million things. Okay, get up from couch. Okay. Boom. So, everyone, thank you for staying with us. This has been so much fun making mocap. Let's do the raffle. Then we are going to open up Rokoko Studio Preview, take a quick look at that, and then do a Q&A, and then let people go. But thank you. I do this all day long. We're going to do more of our live streams. It's so fun to just, it's great, get ideas from you guys because, you know, I am obviously limited a little bit in what I can generate myself. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera back a little bit, and let's go ahead and do some raffling. So we're going to be jumping into Rokoko Studio Preview in a moment. And to do that, what I like to do, because it shares the same scene files from Rokoko Studio, I'm going to fully close this scene. And then I'm going to open up Rokoko Studio Preview. And hopefully that will, because everything needs to go over the cloud, hopefully it'll be updated by the time we get into there and through the raffle. So I'm going to open up Rokoko Studio Preview. There we go. But in the meantime, while this is all opening, we got ourselves a little raffle that we can do here. Whew. Sweating in here. So again, thank you so much everyone for coming. It's super fun. Thank you for contributing to the chat and all the ideas. We have lots of these webinars. Join our next one. You know, we put out the word on Instagram or through all of our channels, and we always do discounts. We always do raffles. If you're thinking about Rokoko, it's a great way to learn what we're doing next, you know, and also maybe win some gear. And so please, you know, come to our other ones and have some fun with us. For this raffle, I gotta pull up my screen here. Okay, who do we have? Who is winning a full performance capture bundle? So that is a suit, gloves, head capture, Studio Plus for a full year, and you're gonna be making so much motion capture. Drum roll, please. We got Ben Keyline. Sorry if I butchered your name. Congratulations, Ben. Thank you for coming. Yay! Congrats, emojis. Yeah. Enjoy the motion capture. We'll get in touch with you over email to get you sorted out. But congratulations. gonna make some mocap. Okay, so let's jump back into our scene here. And I just need to sign into Rokoko Studio Preview using my Rokoko account. And here we are. I'll move my, let me move this guy over here. Failed to load Teams. Okay, but it didn't fail to load live webinar. So before we even jump into our live webinar, this is Rokoko Studio Preview. So this is the beta-ish, alpha-ish look at the future of Rokoko, right, that I was talking about earlier. And here we can do looping, we can do smoothing, and we're also just rapid fire releasing new updates to this all the time. The most recent one is coming soon, which will be the Motion Spotlight. This will be releasing either later this week or early next week. So this is a tool that basically will search through all of the recordings you've ever done, the motions that you've ever done, and shooting, let's type in rifle, or shooting a gun. It will look through all the motions I've already done, and it will try to find other instances, pistol, where I've already recorded this mocap. So the cool thing about this is that it might not be the most accurate in terms of what you're getting, in terms of what was originally recorded. Let's say, for instance, I type in taking a shower. Well, maybe for taking a shower, it might return some dancing clips. And that's because it's not looking at the labeling, it's looking at the motion performed during the clip and trying to see, hey, does that match with the request that I'm getting? So this is really cool. Again, very experimental, but gonna be a great way to maybe save some time if you make a lot of mocap already and you don't want to be remaking things that you've made before. Okay, so let's open up our scene though. This is the scene that we were just working in Rokoko Studio. Might take a second to load because it is quite a lot. Let's check the chat. What's going on, chat? Send me this package. I'll change my name to Ben. That's pretty good. Is Ben a real person? How does Rokoko work with iClone characters? It works well. We have a lot of tutorials on the channel for iClone and Reallusion. Go check it out. YouTube, Rokoko Motion. Is there a plugin that allows you to add props? So no, there's not a plugin that allows you to add props. We are working on prop sensors coming in the future. In the meantime, there's other ways to do that. Yeah, for instance, using Vive at the same time or something like that. What would be an interesting workflow only for getting key poses, fast for complex motion? So an interesting workflow for any, I mean, for getting key poses, the great thing, Diego, is that you could just jump in, and this takes a long time because we recorded a lot of motion capture. It'll take longer, although it might be hung. This is an experimental, oh there we are. Sorry, but yeah, key poses. What you do for key poses is just do one take, right? Do a bunch of hero poses and then use those to animate off of, I assume. Can the headband be theoretically worn under martial arts or boxing? Yes, totally. The headband is not actually a headband. All the sensors come off. They're all just Velcro. You don't need a headband. I could just tuck this into my beanie if I thought that was going to be tight enough and it was going to be stuck to my head. But you could easily just Velcro this to a boxing helmet or a, I don't know, something else on the head. You could even just do it right to the head if you wanted, if you could deal with the tape. Stilts or extensions? Stilts. That's interesting. You might be able to use stilts if you put the sensors at the bottom of the stilts. It depends. That's a lot. Okay, so Charizard, our initial recording. Let's go through and look at what you can do in Rokoko Studio Preview. So if I play through this recording, this is what this is what I did earlier. Now I can't do edit footlocks. I can't do things like that. This is more about just doing my loops and smoothing. So the first thing I do for pretty much every clip that I make now is I add smoothing to it. So this is a Butterworth smoothing filter. I'm going to click on my track here, drag this filter so it covers the entire timeline. And then if I click on this filter, you can see under details, we have the strength and we can select what portions of the body we want the filter to affect. So if I play it at 0, this is no filter. This is just what we recorded, right? If I put it at 10, Look at this jump. So smooth, it's basically not even moving. Very bizarre. Now, what I usually like to put it at is around 6, 6.5. I'll move it to 6. And at this level, what you get is a very smooth, a very natural motion, but you get a little smoothing. And smoothing makes things feel a little bit better. It makes things just read a little bit more AAA. And it can be a great way just to get a little bit extra out of your motion capture. So I always add smoothing. So for this clip, this is now ready to go. However, what if we wanted to make a loop? For example, that old man walk that we had earlier. So if we wanted to turn this into a walk cycle, first thing I would do is I would add smoothing. I add smoothing to all of my clips because it makes them look better no matter what, pretty much. And then I'm going to go and find where I want my walk cycle to be. I want it to be when there's that constant forward motion at the end. So right foot down, right at this moment, let's add the beginning of our loop. And we'll end the loop when the right foot goes down the next time. So right foot down, and right foot down. If we go to our details panel with our loop selected, apply loop magic, I can change the transition time to 0.5, close the loop, lock it to axis, and start it from the origin. And this will make it so that you have an in-place walk cycle that is looping forever. Look at this. This is perfectly looped. Completely seamless. Perfect loop. And we can do this for walking. And again, this is on a clip where I was actually translating in space. I wasn't on a treadmill. I was in my office. I just walked across the office, and I can turn that into an in-place walk cycle, which is just so amazing. Triple or double XL suits. Yes, we're working on that. That's Jason again. Yes, totally. I get that request all the time. We are working on bigger suits, so that will be coming at some point. My video is blocking out that portion. Oh no, sorry. Oh, let me move. Oh no, my video is blocking the whole time. Okay, so this is the details panel, and you can see we have these options. And if we go to smoothing, we just have these options here. It's just a little dragging slider. And then from this place, we can export this out and get into Rokoko, into Unreal, or do whatever we need to do. Okay, so this was awesome. Hopefully, I think it's time we can kind of do some Q&A and wrap things up. And we will, again, I'm going to be cleaning up all the motion capture that we made today. We're going to be packing it up and sending it to you guys if you want to check it out, see the final results. I think it's just a great way, again, to get a sense of how a motion capture system works, is to see it in action, see it breaking, see what it doesn't do well. These are all essential things. And I really have a problem with any company that is like, tells you that their solution is the only solution and then it's going to work 100,000% of the time. Having worked in motion capture for a long time now, I can tell you every single motion capture system has weaknesses. They all are very dependent on the workflows, specific workflows to make the best use of them. And that comes down to budget, time, ease of use, how much equipment there is, all these different things, right? So our system is great. It's not for everyone. If you want to find out if it's for you, book a demo, check out our YouTube channel, all the live streams we've done, come to the webinars, and get a sense for how the system actually works in reality. So I'm going to actually go ahead and plug my suit back in. So I thought for the Q&A, I would get my face capture up and running. And we'll see here. First of all, I'm going to disconnect my character. Hide my character. I'm back. I'm going to do a calibration pose. And then we will look at some Q&A questions and facial motion capture. So to get facial motion capture working in Rokoko, we just have an app. So I'll just go to my app. As soon as I open it up, it pops up in my scene here. I hit connect. I hit accept. There we go. And now I can just connect, allow, And look at that, we've got facial motion capture. I'm going to add my face capture to my character, and let's answer some Q&A questions. And I've just got my, I'm not actually just going to put on the mount, just keep it easy. If I could, but I've just got it here right on my desk, and that works as well. So, okay, what do we got for Q&A? Again, thank you everyone for putting up with us and sticking around. Q&A, okay. And then we will let everyone go. I'm just gonna check my, yep, Slack, all good. Okay, from Sidoni again. I would like to see a 30-second run-in-place animation and see how you would handle quickly cleaning up the footlocks. Having trouble with drift on this all the time. So a 30-second running-in-place animation, what I would do is, I would say I would try what you've done in the past again, because we've just updated our locomotion engine, and if you haven't done it since then, everything is working a lot better, especially for runs. Now, if you want 30 seconds running in place, what you really need is just a few strides, 5 strides, and then go and make a loop out of it in Rokoko Studio Preview, and then you can have a loop for as long as you want it to be, and then that's what I would do. Just 30 seconds of running on a treadmill or something is going to be a lot of cleanup, and I think that might be a better way of handling that, would be using Preview. Okay. Would also love to see a really long recording, like maxing out the 5-minute drifting. So Sidoni, that's a great idea. I should put a long recording on YouTube. But we have some long recordings on YouTube. I usually try to keep recordings under 2 minutes. They are, if you go a lot longer, it's not so much that it can't handle it, it's that it becomes a very, very big FBX. And then also, like, dealing with that clip, cleaning it up, is going to be tough. It's just a long clip, the timeline's small. So I try to break things up more. It's not to say you don't have to, it's just, could you do that 5-minute clip in 2 clips? If you can't, it's fine. It just means you're going to have to do the cleanup. But yeah. So does DriftFix work when you start the recording with a countdown? No, anonymous attendee, it does not. You need to be in the same place. So I've turned off my countdown for recording now. I don't use one. It starts recording as soon as I hit record, and then I don't have because I want to use the DriftFix. So no, it doesn't. You don't have to use the DriftFix though. Okay, Constantia. Something about Rokoko and mocap driving a car. Yes, Constantia, we made a mocap that I think I released for everyone, driving motion capture. It's on our YouTube channel. Check it out. And it goes through how to record it as well. How durable are the sensors from Arnold's for stunts and things like that? The sensors are pretty durable. We also send the suits with replacement cables in case something breaks. We can work with you to replace the sensor. Usually they're pretty durable. I mean, I wouldn't roll around on concrete on like mats and mattresses, like for stunts. Should be fine. And if there is an issue, you can replace a cable. More likely a cable might get pulled out. But we have replacement cables. What's the lag time for real-time streaming in Unreal Engine or VTuber? It's small. Christine, I would say it's sub 10 milliseconds. It's usually, it's a couple milliseconds for Rokoko Studio, and then from Rokoko Studio to Unreal, it's a couple milliseconds. So the important thing is it's not really noticeable. It's not noticeable, right, to the human eye. Shouldn't be. And if it is, it's because there's lag in the system somewhere that could be eliminated in theory. Well, not in theory, like you have to be hard line to the internet, for instance, if you're VTubing. An Ethernet cable, Wi-Fi is not really going to cut it. So there are things like that can speed it up. Do you see a Rokoko suit used in the VTuber space? I don't think I see a ton of Western YouTubers generally, AJ. But there are a bunch of VTubers I know of that use Rokoko suit. Pixel Fire, in my opinion, is one of the best examples. Sci-Fire, there's a bunch of them. Pixel Fire uses Unity, really clean setup, Lego stuff, really amazing VTuber, and really incredible setup. Christine, following up the real-time streaming question, what is the comparison lag time in UE or VTube? Oh yeah, it's not to the human eye, so it should be fine. Um, yeah. So let me go through the chat now. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Okay, is there an area size limit from Adam? It's Wi-Fi based. In theory, you could make a mesh network and make a really large Wi-Fi network. But yeah, it's big enough for your home or your office, a basketball court. It's Wi-Fi based, so it's going to depend on the strength of your Wi-Fi signal. How would you work with a kind of cartoon character with a large head and a body smaller than usual? This is from Leak. So the important thing is that when you're working with characters that are different proportions, you can just go through and try and do it yourself, right? Just try and go through and like fake it, right? I've got a large head. That means that it topples a lot or something. Maybe I have a hard time balancing it. The best way to get realistic motion capture in general for anything is to use props. So if you have a large head, the real way to do it would be to make a big old paper mache head or wear something very heavy on your head that approximated how it was to have a big head. Shrinking your body that you're just going to have to pretend or whatever that you have a small body because you can't actually physically do that. But for people who are using tails, for that Charizard, like making a fake tail, having something hang off of your butt to simulate having a tail, you always get better results from motion capture if you use props. So try to use props and yeah, that's pretty much it. Facial hair doesn't really mess up the mocap. Yeah, it is really good at this point. For 2 suits, must I use the coil to eliminate drifting? So the coil can help basically have it can track your global position and can reduce your global drift. So that means if you have 2 characters in a scene, they can have the correct orientation to each other. Now that being said, the coil, you can also do that without the coil. You just have to do a little bit more work. If you have questions about the coil, book a live demo. Check out our YouTube channel. You can find out more there. But you can do a lot without the coil as well. So the coil is kind of for the super high end. It's more narrow use case. But yes, you can use it with multiple actors and it will prevent drift, which is really cool. Okay. So everyone, I'm not seeing a lot of questions, so we might kind of draw it to a close right there. This has been so much fun. I'm sorry that we didn't make more motion capture. We made, about 10 clips that I'm going to clean up and we're going to send out to you guys. And what up, Sven? Thank you, Ian. Thank you to Gustav and Yaki and our whole Rokoko team. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. And let's just go back to a run through of everything one more time. You know it. We got our discount. We got that sweet 10% discount. Everything at Rokoko.com, mocap 2025. This will also be in an email that's sent to you. Book a free demo. If you got questions, book that demo. We have an amazing team. They can answer your questions about your specific workflow again, which is so helpful because everyone is so different. So book a free demo. Check out our YouTube channel. Get that discount. And other than that, join our next webinar, which will be in the late winter, probably in January or February. We have new stuff coming out. We've got new hardware coming out soon. That's not a replacement of a suit, but something else. So don't be worried about getting your suits. Get your Rokoko Smart Suit Pro 2. That's not going anywhere, but we have more interesting hardware coming out soon to augment your suit experience. So really cool. Stay tuned. And thank you again, everyone, for coming. And we're going to end it there. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Have a great holidays. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.